Alright, so this will be our practice to use all of the tools that we've been learning so far. Alright, so if we make a new file and we call it Wheels, or maybe Illustrator Review, we'll do that. Alright, so it's going to be 7 by 7.
Landscape or portrait?
There is no orientation if it's square, really. I mean, I have mine in portrait, but it really doesn't matter because if you rotate, it's going to be the same, right? Do make sure that your units are in inches, though, all right? All right, so this is what we're going to have as our final product here. So I'm just going to kind of recreate this, and I'm going to try to type in the steps as we go. So I will just make a new artboard here. And I will customize that. All right, so what do we see here? How can we kind of break apart this object? Where would we start with this?
The ellipse.
The ellipse, right? And so if we start with an ellipse, and what are some of the properties of the ellipse in this object?
We can hold the control and shift to make a circle, center circle.
All right, and we want to find, we should be able to find the center of this document also by hovering over the middle here. Now, I think, oh, there it was. All right, so yes, if we hold Alt and Shift and we drag out, let's make this center to this one 2 by 2, and we have a black fill and no stroke. So after we make that inner circle, we'll then make this outer one. So this one is going to be, let's say 5 by 5 with a black stroke of 0.375 and no fill. Alright, so I'm going to make another circle with my ellipse tool based on the center. It's going to be 5 by 5. I can customize it up here. And as we said, so no fill and a 0.375 stroke to that. If you did not change your units to inches when you set up your document, you can go to Edit, Preferences, and then Units, and you can change your stroke to inches in there. I think it's probably, most people do use stroke, or points, but I kind of like to stay to inches. Alright, so that would be our outer type of circle there. Alright, so now we're going to make these kind of spokes going off of there. Alright, so let's see, these rectangles will say, what's our size? So a width, let's say a width of 1, a height of 1.5. Let's see if that works. So I'm going to use my rectangle tool, and I will just kind of make one, and then we'll say transform it, and we have a width of, what my settings were here, back, so we'll say width of, I'm going to round these off 1, a height of 1.5. So if we look here, actually, and I think that's even a little thick there, so let's make it 0.3/8 would be a little less than a half, so that's 0.375. Yeah, looks better. Right, so your width of this type of spoke, if you will, 0.375, your height 1.5. Right, so now to rotate this, I'm going to first select this rectangle, and then I'm going to select my rotate tool, and then I do
With a control click or?
Alt and left click on the center point. Right, Alright, so I'll do that one more time. So I selected the rectangle, and I selected my rotate tool, and then I'm gonna alt click. Yeah, cause control click doesn't do anything. Actually, I have the wrong thing selected. Alright, so select that, select the rotate, and then alt click the center. We're gonna do 30 degrees, and we're gonna make a copy. And then, how do I repeat? Control D. Alright,
Gonna make the triangles, a couple of triangles, and then on top of that,
a triangle is a type of polygon, right? So if I select the polygon tool, and then I left click and drag, and before I let go, if I press the up or down key, you can see how you can increase the amount of sides. That's one way to do it, alright, by creating it that way, and then transform this to be 0.5. 5.5. Alright, the other way you can do this is if you just click on your screen, then it allows you to kind of predetermine your sides. And then I guess if we just did a radius, or actually a radius, if it was 0.5, it would be 0.25. So, alright, so the math on that is not correct. But, alright, so now we're gonna get this triangle to be kind of tangent to the top here. What does it mean to be tangent? This is a bonus geometry question.
If it's on a tangent, it intersects.
At one point, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Alright, and actually, let's try to get these spokes, or this triangle kind of in between the spokes, is I think the way I had it here. So you do have to kind of eyeball this a little bit. I'm going to zoom in to look at that. Alright, to do the name, to create that type on the path, we need to make a circle first.
So you do control C, select the main circle, and then control F, then use both control.
I want to look at the size. We're going to make that circle 1 by 1. Alright, so I'm going to make another circle based here in the middle. And again, we're going to make this 1 by 1. With a black fill, no stroke. And then I will just select my type 1 path tool. So I'm going to press and hold the T tool, go down to there and select that. And then just click on that path. Put your name in there somehow, like I did Duza Designs. So you could kind of be creative with your name, but I do want to include it in there. We would change our color. Let's make it white. And I do want it centered. And again, that's done. Once we type it in there, if I go to my direct selection, I can just hover over to find this little double arrow. And just drag that over to that area, and that over to that spot. And I might have to shrink this down, our font size, to get it to fit, and then center it. To make our cut line, what I'd like you to do is to copy this layer, which now I'm going to have crazy layers because I have all this other stuff going on. Copy that layer and then turn off and lock the one that's underneath of it. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to be making some shape building so that we have all this in here. So I'm going to just delete my text from this layer. I really don't even need these spokes because we're really trying to make a perimeter shape. So I'm just deleting these from this other layer. And if you're getting scared, remember, you can turn on the other layer and it's still there. So that's a good way to test is with the eyeball so that you have that. Alright, then I'm going to do object expand because I want to make this into just a editable object. So I'll select all and use my shape build. This big